Oh no!
Awesome.
Mind my business!
Fail.
Mind my business.
Oh yeah.
Mind my business. Hey, and welcome to a new episode of Mind My Business. It's our opinion podcast from Hype 1000. I'm your host, Max, and today is the last day of the week, and it's the last episode for this week. It's the second week that we're doing this daily opinion podcast. So far, it's a very interesting experience. I really like it, sharing my thoughts. Look forward to getting more feedback on how you like it, what your opinion is on those topics that we talk about. And today I would like to close off this week with something that I haven't seen just recently, but it's kind of like hit my radar like every 1 or 2 months. It comes up in different variations, and it's the topic of podcast SEO. And I think the first time I heard about it and I was reading about it was a couple of years ago when Google announced that now in their Google search, podcasts are available to be found. So whenever you're now going on Google and type in your key phrase or your search phrase and end it with the word podcast, it will most likely give you some relevant content in the podcast environment about that topic. And of course, that's why they integrated Google Podcasts as their own tool, so you can find it on there as well. And then for the past year, I've seen a lot of agencies, a lot of consultants talking about that topic and talking about how you can improve your podcast SEO and what you should do and how that will help you being ranked better, rank higher in the charts, be found on Spotify much better. And then in the past few months, I've seen companies coming in that offer you software solutions that say, so improve your SEO ranking or do a competitive analysis of other podcasts to see how you're ranking. So it's pretty much like Google Analytics, just for podcasts. And the one thing that I don't understand and where I feel it's not really necessary to have somebody that is focusing on podcasts as a consultant in the field of SEO, nor do I believe that it's really necessary to have a software that helps you with that. Because in my opinion, you can do that by talking to the people, to the folks that you work with on your regular SEO. Because in the end, if people look for something, if people search for something, they will search on Google or Bing or whatever, but most likely 98% search on Google. And if it's a product, they will go to Amazon, but that's not relevant for you yet. And maybe some people will search on YouTube. So to be found in Google, you have to make sure that on your podcast, the title that you have, the description that you have, the subtitle that you have, and the tags and everything that you create in those metadata is relevant to your topic and is relevant in search. So comparing that to improving your website, it's the same way, or writing a blog post and doing an SEO optimization. It is the same thing for the description and for the metadata of your podcast audio file. Because the second part, if people go on Spotify and look for a new podcast, that do it in an exploratory way. So they're not searching for something in particular. They're not looking for any keywords. If they look for something particular or they're not very sure, they go on Google, and then you can be found there because you will show up ideally if you have the right niche with your podcast, with your episodes. You will be found there. and then they can, people can link to whatever platform you're using to distribute your podcast. And on those existing platforms, Apple Podcasts and Spotify, you can try to improve your content, but it works in the same kind of mechanism. The same kind of keywords that are being used on Google work in that environment. Plus, especially on Spotify, of course, they will focus on what they curated for you. So it's their exclusive content, it's their originals content, it's the people, the big influencers that they want to push, that have the big impression numbers and that big reach. So most likely, and then go through the charts and rank it in that order, what will be found. So even if you improve your podcast description and everything, to really optimize it for SEO, on those platforms, Apple Podcasts and Spotify, it is other factors that decide if you're being found or not. So the best way to be found is to improve your content, so your metadata, based on the logic of the Google algorithm, search algorithm. That is, in my opinion, the best way to go. So I highly doubt that a podcast SEO team is able to help you. So you don't need anybody specific. So if you're a podcast consultant, you should understand how the Google search algorithm works to consult your clients on that. And if you're a creator, in the same way, you should understand that, the basics of SEO. And the second thing is, a software helping you is, in my opinion, extremely doubtable that it will help you in any way. And I don't really see a future for that type of software. I might be wrong on this, but I don't see the use case for that yet, due to the reasons that I explained before. And yeah, with that opinion, and I know I'm ending the week with a very strong opinion, and there might be some people that disagree. Feel free to reach out. Nevertheless, have a great weekend. I hear you next Monday, and take care.
Why don't you mind your business?